Hi, it's Miss Frey again, your librarian, and today we're going to be kind of concluding and wrapping up our Big Six lesson. So you should have watched your videos and discussed the Big Six steps with your teacher, and now we're going to kind of wrap it all up and get moving on with our research. Okay, so the purpose of today is we're going to put everything we learned about the Big Six research methods into action and actually start your research projects. So before we do that, though, we are going to review all 6 steps of the Big Six so we kind of jog our memories, kind of get back in the groove of things. And then we're also going to discuss your Big Six handout. That's something that you have at your tables right now, okay? That's kind of your cheat sheet. And this is also on Google Classroom if you need to click on any of the links or if you lose your handout, it's always there too in our library Google Classroom, okay? So we're going to start first with a little lesson review. Okay, so we'll review the Big Six, just like I said, and then we're also going to be looking at that handout, which is your cheat sheet. So we're going to start with the handout, and there's 3 parts to your handout if you get it out in front of you. You can see that there is kind of a step-by-step of your Big Six, okay? And this is kind of just the overview of it, so you can kind of check it off, get a little review if you kind of forget which step is next. That's there for you. There's also 5 reliable resources to help you along the way of your project. These range from information about research to databases to kind of little hints about the Big Six if you need a little bit of help there. And then last but not least, there's some research tips at the bottom that are some helpful things that you can use throughout your research process. Okay. Your handout looks like this, right? On the front of your handout is that step-by-step of the Big Six and a little bit of information underneath to kind of jog your memory if you forget which step is what and what they do. And then the back of that is your 5 resources. And there's some really great things here. There's video about why we use databases, how to evaluate research sources, and then even some things for the Big Six, like graphic organizers you can use to take notes, and some acronyms to help you remember the 6 steps without kind of like off the top of your head, which is kind of nice. And then your research tips at the bottom. Okay. And again, this is something that you can have in the library as a handout, and give me on Google Classroom if you need to click in the links or watch any of the videos, they're there for you. Okay. Next is we're going to just kind of review those 6 steps, especially these first 3, because these are kind of the ones that we're going to start working on today. Okay. And so we're going to start with task definition, which if you remember, kind of the subcategories of those is to define the information problem and identify information needed. So this is where you're kind of coming up with your research topic and deciding what information you want to seek out and learn about that subject or topic or question you have. A big hint for this one, since we are starting on this today, is to create a question that can't be answered with a yes or a no, or Google right at the top. You know, if you type in something and it's super quick, it come up right at the top of Google. If your question can be answered by those things, it's probably not the best for your research project. Okay. For number 2 of your steps, right, the information seeking strategies. If you remember the subcategories, it's to determine all possible sources you can use and then to select the best sources for you. So there's all kinds of sources we have in our library and in our classrooms and around us to use for this research project. So this could be databases, books, people, websites, magazines, all kinds of things, right? So you need to kind of narrow down what you would like to use that is reliable, okay? And then you also need to kind of focus in on what keywords and phrases you want to do when you're actually researching these sources, okay? Especially if it's online or in a database, you need to kind of narrow that down, okay? What do you want to know? So our step 3 is location and access, which is actually physically or online locating your resources that you want to use, and then finding the information within sources, okay? So as a librarian, I'm here to help with this step the most. I love to help you find the materials you need. So database, login information, I can help you with that because I know we've only gone over it a couple of times, so I can be there for that. If you need to check out a library book, if you need to schedule an interview with someone, these are the times to do this. So you have all that reliable information and sources kind of secured and ready to kind of start that research and those note-taking processes. Okay, so those are the first 3 steps. Our next 3, okay, we're going to start at number 4, is actually using that information that you found from the sources. Okay, so that is to engage in those sources, to read, hear, view, touch, speak with those sources, and then extract the relevant information. So leave all the stuff that doesn't really matter to your question or your research, and then take all the good stuff, right? So you're going to actually be kind of looking through, picking out those really good information. And don't forget to put any direct information use in quotation marks. Always credit the creator or the person you're speaking to or the database you're using, so you're not plagiarizing, okay? And then really take those organized notes. The graphic organizer on your handout would be a great thing to use for this step, okay? Step 5 is synthesize. Okay, you're going to organize from multiple sources and present the information. So this step is kind of wrapping everything in up a nice little bow. You're going to kind of tie everything together, organize that information, and then share that knowledge in a way that seems awesome to you. So this might be a PowerPoint, a video, a poster, right? And then you're going to revise and edit your work so you make sure it's perfect to turn in and present to the class. Okay. And that last step is number 6, which is evaluation. So you're judging your product in the process of creating it. Okay. Ask yourself these questions as you're going through, look at your rubric and everything like that. Do you think you answered your question correctly and fully? Correct, created a project to display your work efficiently, right? So you pick the best source or artifact to use, and then learn something by using the Big 6 research method, which is the whole reason we're doing this, right? Is to learn the 6 steps and how to use them. Okay. So in conclusion, take your time and follow the steps of the Big 6 as we work out today. If you have any questions, please, please, please ask me or your teacher for help. If you're stuck on one of the steps or with your research or picking out any kind of sources, I am here for you, and so is your teacher. And then use your research to drive your learning experience. Okay, really pick a question that's going that is a really deep inquiry for you, something you don't know about, so you can really learn something in this process. I hope you had fun doing your first couple of steps in the Big 6, and I will be here to help if you have any questions. Thank you.